Hi, and welcome to this two-part Solidworks tutorial for a Piñata sweet jar. In the first part of this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create the main body of the jar. The second part will cover shelling the main part of the jar to make it hollow and applying decals to the finished design. The DXF files and decals used across the two tutorials are available to download from the blog's description. To begin, start a new part. Sketching onto the right plane, use the ellipse and starting from the centre axis, draw a level ellipse. Make it wider than tall and change the dimensions to 60mm radius width and 52mm radius height. Half the ellipse horizontally with the line tool and trim away the other half with trim entities. Revolve the shape 360 degrees. To start the leg, add a new part off the front plane. To start the leg, add a new plane off the front plane. Change the distance to 25mm and flip the direction. Flip the normal to here so that the plane faces outwards. Sketching onto the new plane, use the centre line to create some guides. Draw a line downwards from the axis by 20mm, then outwards here by 30. Using the line tool, draw a 10mm line back inwards along the guide. Then draw another line from the end of the guide, down and out diagonally by 65mm. Change the angle of the line to 255 degrees and close the sketch. Select on the top plane, reference geometry and plane. Select this point from the sketch for the second reference and add a new plane. Sketching onto the new plane, draw a 36mm circle from the end point of this line. Then use emboss extrude, change the extrude type to up to vertex and select the end point of the leg guide sketch. And select the diagonal line for the direction of the extrude. Before closing, untick Merge Result. Looking from the right side view, use Move/Copy Bodies. When the options open, untick the copy box and rotate the leg along the x-axis by 10 degrees, and OK it. Sketching onto the right plane, draw a rectangle from the highest point of the extruded leg here, across. Extrude cut this away to make the leg level again. Then fillet the bottom edge by 4mm to soften it. Now you can mirror the leg using Mirror in Features. Mirroring it from the front plane, ensuring to select the bodies under Bodies to Mirror, not Features. Then mirror both legs along the right plane so that you're left with 4. Using the Combine tool, ensure Operation Type is on Add and select all the bodies, combining them into one. Soften the join of the legs of the body, filleting all 4 edges by 20mm so it looks like this. To start the neck and the head of the piñata, select the right plane and go to Insert DXF/DWG and browse and open the Piñata Neck Guide DXF. When the options box opens, untick the Import as Reference and click Next. Here you'll have a preview of the DXF. Change the dimensions to millimeters and click Finish to bring it in. Using Move Entities, move the sketch from this end guide point to the centre axis and close the sketch. With the sketch in place, I need to add 6 new planes at each guideline along the neck. To do this, select the right plane, reference geometry, plane, and select the first guide along the neck here. Ensure the plane is facing upwards to make it easier to sketch on later. Repeat the process for the 5 other planes, again taking flip normal if the arrow is facing downwards. Don't forget to save your part as you go along, and hide planes 1 and 2. Now to start the loft sketches. Start on plane 4 and use the centre line to trace over the guideline, ensuring that you hit the points either side. They must touch the neck guides. The points will highlight orange when you're on them, just like this. Then using the ellipse, view the plane normal to, and start on the ellipse from the centre of the guide, click onto the end point of the guideline, then outwards. You can change the height radius dimension of the ellipse here to 36mm. The other dimension is fixed to the guide. Close this sketch and hide the plane. Start a new sketch onto plane 5 and, like before, draw a guideline from point to point. Use the ellipse and, same as before, start from the centre of the guide, going along the line to the end point and outwards. Here, change the width of the radius dimension to 27mm and close it, hiding the plane. This will make the model less messy and easier to see where you're up to. Start a new sketch on plane 6, add the guideline and draw an ellipse again. changing the height radius dimension of the ellipse here to 21mm. Close the sketch and hide the plane. For plane 7, draw a guideline again and draw another ellipse, changing the height radius of the ellipse to the same as below, to 21mm. Close this sketch and hide plane 7. Planes 8 and 9 are a little bit more complex, but they still require the centerline join. Sketching onto plane 8, draw the centerline from point to point. Then draw another guideline from this point back along the guide by 25mm. Use this point to draw a 50mm circle up to the end point. Half the circle like this with the line tool and trim away this side. Using the centerline again, starting from here, draw a 12mm line down, then horizontally outwards by 30mm. Using the line tool, start from the top of the semicircle, hover over the point until the line turns into an arc like this, and join it to the end point of this guide. Next, starting from the end of the first guideline, draw a 5.5mm line vertically up, then join the lines together using the arc again. Mirror the three entities from the guideline, and trim away the inner entities. Closing the sketch, hide plane 8. For the final plane 9, repeat the same process as plane 8 with the centerline guide from one side to the other. Draw another guideline from this point back along the guide by 25mm. Use this point to draw a 50mm circle up to the end point, and like the previous sketch, half the circle like this with the line tool and trim away the side. Use the centre line, and starting from here, draw a 12mm line down, then horizontally outward, this time by 28mm. Use the line tool to join up these 2 points with an arc. Next, starting from the end of the first guideline, draw a 5mm line vertically up, then join the lines together using the arc again. Mirror the three entities from the guideline, trim away the inner entities and close the sketch. Hiding the last plane, the profiles are all ready for lofting. Selecting the loft tool in Features, start by selecting all the profiles of the neck in order from the top profile to the end one. Looking from the right side, you can see that the loft doesn't quite follow the outer profile I want for the neck. To fix this, I can use the original DXF sketch I brought in as guide curves for the loft to follow. So click into the guide curves box and select the lines along this side, and click on the green tick once they're all selected. Then repeat the process on the other side, selecting all the curve, then the green tick. The neck preview should look like this. Before you OK the loft, ensure the merge result box is ticked. I need to soften the join of the neck to the body, so just fillet the edge by 25mm, ensuring it goes all the way around the edge. Now that I have the main body structure, I can add the ears. To begin, start a new sketch onto the top face of the neck. Looking normal to, convert the face to entities by selecting it to convert entities in sketch tools. Use the line tool to draw a 20mm horizontal line from here upwards to the edge of the face. Trim away the excess sketch, and then selecting Sketch Fillet, change the fillet dimensions to 4mm, select the corner lines here. This sketch will form a bottom profile of the ear. Close the sketch. Selecting the face again, add a new plane. Selecting this line of the sketch we just done as the second reference, and OK it. Sketching onto the new plane, I'm going to draw the front profile of the ear. View the plane normal to, so that you're looking at the piñata from the front. Use the line to draw a 20mm line across the previous sketch, ensuring it joins up to both points. This is important for the boundary boss. Use the centre line to draw a guide up from the middle of the line by 32mm. Then draw an 8mm circle near the sketch, and use Move Entities to join it to the top point of the circle to the top of the guideline. Join the bottom line and the circle side points with the line tool on both sides, and trim away the inner entities until it forms a shaded closed sketch like this. Close the sketch and hide the plane. To join up the two sketches and create a guide curve for a boundary feature, I'm using 3D Sketch, found in the Sketch drop down here. Then using a spline, join up the top point of the circle to the midpoint of the fillet. To curve the spline for the side shape of the ear, view the part from the side. Click onto the spline so that the handles appear. and select the end point of the top spline handle to drag the spline up, and the other handle is parallel to the side of the piñata head. To make it more accurate, you can input the spline angles here. For the top handle, change the tangent polar direction to 70 degrees and the tangent radial direction to 137 degrees. For the second handle, I change the radial direction to 106 degrees and the polar direction to 13 degrees. This forms the curve that the boundary will follow to create the ear. Select Boundary Boss from Features, and for the first box, select the front and bottom ear profiles. Then clicking into the Direction to Curves box, select the 3D sketch. The preview should snap along the guide like this, creating the ear shape. Before I OK the feature, untick the Merge Result box. Fillet the front edges of the ear by 3mm. With the ear finished, mirror the body across the right plane. To finish the piñata head, select and start a new sketch on the top face. Convert the entities of the face and extrude the sketch by 8mm, unmerging the result. Fillet the top face of the extrusion by 8mm, creating the top of the piñata head. Use and combine again, with operation on add, combine all the bodies as one. Finally, to create the piñata tail, I need a new plane off the front plane, 40mm away, with the direction flipped towards the back of the piñata. Also tick Flip Normal to change the normal direction of the plane. Sketching onto the new plane, draw a centerline guide 30mm from the axis. Use the end point to draw a 12mm circle and extrude this sketch by 70mm, unticking Merge Result, and add a 2-degree draft angle going outwards. OK the feature and hide the plane and any guide sketches still visible. To bend the extrusion, select the Flex feature, then the Tail extrusion. I need to move the triad up to Trim Plane 2 so that the extrusion start face stays straight. Show the Flex type is on bending. To move the triad, change the triad origin to -40 on the Z-axis. It will snap to the end like this. To ensure the tail bends downwards, I need to change the triad Z angle to 0 so that the tail can bend this way. Change the bending angle dimension to 105 degrees and OK the feature. Fillet the end of the tail by 4mm. To fill out the tail, I'm going to use Move/Copy Bodies to create copies of the tail part. Viewing the tail from the back, select Move/Copy Bodies, select the tail and check the copy box. Under Translate, change the X value to 5, the Y to -5 and the Z to 10. To rotate the tail a little, select Move/Copy Bodies again, select the copy and untick the copy box. Under the Rotate options, change the Y angle value to 340 degrees and OK it. Using Move Bodies, select the copied part and with Copy ticked, change the Translate dimensions to 0 for X, -4 for Y and 8 for Z. OK the copy and use Move Bodies to rotate the same part, again unticking copy, and changing the Rotate Y angle dimensions to 335 degrees. To fill in the gap in the tail here, I'm going to copy the first tail body again, moving and copying the part, 0mm along the X-axis, -8 for Y and 10mm for Z. Finally, move and copy the previous tail body, changing the Translate dimensions to 0 for the X-axis, -6 for Y and 8 for Z. Selecting the right plane, mirror the two rotated tail bodies here. The tail finished and filled out, combine and add all the bodies together with the piñata body. Use the Fillet tool to smooth all the draining edges of the tail by 3mm. You may need to do this in stages. I filleted the upper joint edges first, then the side edges, followed by the middle tail joints. Ensure all edges are filleted to look like this to ensure that there are no issues shelling the part later. With the main model of the piñata sweet jar finished, watch part 2 to see how the part is split into 2 parts, shelled, and decals are added. Thanks for watching this tutorial.